Good morning, Facebook. A little bit more to my regular time. But I just wanted to get on here real quick and sorry, messing with some stuff. I wanted to get on here real quick and just talk to you all about something that I mentioned the other day, and it was really talking about not disqualifying ourselves. So, not disqualifying ourselves, not disqualifying ourselves for opportunities and things that we want in our lives. A lot of us have big thoughts and big dreams, but it's like, oh, I can't do this or I can't do that. And so I wanted to get on here today just to encourage some folks, because I know that I've been guilty of that a lot of times, of just saying, nope, that's not going to be for me. Now is not the right time. You know, my pockets, now. It's one thing to plan. It's one thing to really understand the steps that you need to take to get somewhere. But it's another thing to literally put chains on yourself because you're like, I can't do that. I had a friend of mine, and I know it's probably a big thing where it was like, I've been married a couple of times, so I'm kind of shy about getting into relationships and commitment. And then there are other people who are like, no, you know, I just don't think that that's something that's good for me. And we get ourselves stuck. You know, a lot of times when we think about heartbreak and different things, we think, oh goodness, you know, I don't want to do this again, or whatever the thought may be. There are things that, because maybe people told us stuff, or, you know, I had somebody once tell me, and this was a relationship, look, I be in them. It is what it is. You're going to hear about them. But it was important because he was like, oh my goodness, you are relentless. And, you know, in my brain, I knew that it wasn't a good thing that he was saying to me. But I honestly had to look at myself and be like, you know what? You're right. I'm relentlessly in pursuit of my dreams. I'm relentlessly in pursuit of bettering myself. So even though it was something that he was saying to me to say, you know, oh my goodness, like, calm down, girl, you need to like get it together, I actually heard, you know, roses and butterflies. And so I took that and I embraced it, and I said, you know what, I am relentless. And I never apologized for it because it was who I was supposed to be. Morning, Alicia. Morning, Sam. Morning, Gail. Glad to see you all on here. But talking about not disqualifying ourselves, you know, sometimes our families have boundaries. There are certain things that in my life, and it wasn't anything for my parents or different folks, but they just were like, well, no, we don't do that. And sometimes I say it to my kids, but they know enough to be like, all right, look, Ma, we coloring out the box. Calm down. We're not going to go crazy. Nobody's going to jail. And sometimes I need that reminder. Morning, Justine. It's an amazing thing when we think about our parents, our ancestors, and some of the things that there is fear in other people's hearts that they will impart on you. And then you don't even realize that you've really been brainwashed, sometimes by our parents, sometimes by our school systems, sometimes by the justice system, where it's like, you know, many of us, and I'll say I kind of struggle with it, with the brainwashing of what I should do when I'm driving. So driving while black, walking while black. And for other people, maybe it's walking in a particular neighborhood. You know, it's not always just a race thing, but we all have something that we're carrying from our past. And so those things bring fear into us. You know, when we think about sending our kids to school, some babies don't want to go to school today after the report from yesterday. And guess what? As a parent, I'm like, okay, homeschool 2001, how many of us is it going to take? Because I need to, and it's something that we all have to do to keep our families safe. It's something that we all want to do. We want our children to be safe. We're sending them to school thinking, okay, y'all gonna be all right. But there is so much evil in the world. The thing that's important about us not disqualifying ourselves is this. You know, last couple of days I said the world is waiting for us. Well, if we continue to disqualify ourselves, what happens is we literally not only block our blessings, we block the blessings of our generations, and we also block the blessings of the people who are supposed to be connected with us. And so, you know, I'm always connecting folks together, and they be like, Karen, I need to do this. Be like, ooh, I know a guy. I know a woman. I know somebody. Let me connect you with my dude. You need what? And so a lot of times I will connect people and then I leave and I get to watch how connections and collaborations happen organically. So, you know, I can't really say that I'm a hip hop head, but I grew up in that generation. And so my favorite thing is to see collaborations musically when people come together. And it's like, yes, you bring your talent, I bring my talent, and we about to bomb. What the kids say, it's going to be lit. Hello. I'm too old for that. I can't. I try though, you know, cause we got grandkids. So when we talk about disqualifying ourselves, I disqualified myself because me being a mother. I disqualified myself because me being a woman. Sometimes I disqualified myself because of the number of kids that I had, because of where I grew up, where I was born, my background situation. I disqualified myself for even choices that I had made, whether in relationships or, you know, I belong to this church, or I'm a PK and I can't do this, or, you know, I got this title and I can't do that. And then I realized, you know, it's a thing. It's a thing that I get to reinvent myself every single day. So, you know, sister change up the hair, you know, we get different makeup, always going on with the jewelry, because that's my thing. I'm an accessories junkie. Whatever your thing is, mind your business. This my lane. But in all of that, it is, what can we do? Morning, cousin, love you. What can we do? And so I remember when I graduated high school. And it was interesting because I had a full scholarship. You know, yeah, I was smarty pants. It is what it is. I had a full scholarship to William Patterson College at the time. It is university now. And I was like, well, we know where I'm going. Why? Because I had 2 kids by then. I ain't had no money to do none of that. But I knew that that was my desire. I wanted to get my degree. And then I tried it. You know, I didn't have no car. I got on a bus. I carpooled. I had rides. I would go early in the morning and stay all day, you know, had like 3 classes in the afternoon, but my ride had to go in the morning. So I made sacrifices, you know, and so in those sacrifices that I made, it wasn't really a big deal for me. I knew it was hard. I knew the things that I was doing, it wasn't like normal people don't do this, but I knew it was what I wanted to do. And so the same thing for you and for many other people. When we set in our minds that we want to do something, we do what's necessary. We do what's necessary to get to that thing. But the first step that we have to do is make sure that in our minds we say, it doesn't matter whether you feel like you're deserving of a blessing. Like literally, you woke up this morning, so that is a blessing. So what are you going to use with that gift? What are you going to use with today? You don't want to disqualify yourself, especially not with your own voice, because the world is going to come against you with their excuses on why you can't have that promotion and why they feel like you're not going to be a good fit and why you can't do particular things. So one of the things that I was sharing with a friend of mine in reference to my children, you know, we lived in apartments for a long time before the Lord blessed us with a house. And so I'm not really ashamed of my story, but I never want to bring shame to my family because of maybe decisions that I made or things that I did. But they got to pass. I got to pass. Guess what? We all in this together. So it's an okay thing. But I used to lie about on rental applications because I just was like, they not going to give me this apartment if they know it's 5 of these children, because all they going to think about is that these kids going to mess up their dwelling. Well, they was right. Those children did mess up those dwellings, but we couldn't be homeless. And so I would say, oh, well, it's 2 of them, you know, when it was 3 or 4. And then I'd say it was 3 when it was 5 of them. And then I prayed a prayer and it was so simple. And I just was like, Lord, I just don't want to lie about the existence of my children because they're important to me, you know, and I want to count each and every one of them because they bring something to me and they make me better. They make me know what it is. And so literally I was going through a season of disqualifying myself for the apartment, for us having a better life, for us being able to live in certain neighborhoods, because certain neighborhoods, they didn't care how many kids you had. So it didn't matter whether I put 3 kids on the application or 5 kids. They'd be like, you got the money? All right, here go the keys. But other people were like, my stuff is valuable. You and your bad children go somewhere else. You can't do that. And then once I prayed the prayer and I said, Lord, I want to I want my kids to matter to other people. I want to not lie about how many children, because I am proud of them, and so family and society told me that I should be shameful of my children for many different reasons, because I wasn't married, because they were born out of wedlock. And my story is I don't have 5 different baby daddies, and if that's your story, you got to embrace it. Like, I had one, but that one, it was enough. Okay. Like, we had 5 kids, and that was something totally different. But dealing with that one person was all that I could handle. And God knew that. And so we had 5 children. And then the Lord said, girl, do something. And I said, I hear your voice, Lord, and left. But that's a whole nother, I just love these lives because they always birth another one. But in all of that, it was, what is your story for? The reason why I thought it important to talk about not disqualifying ourselves is because your life experiences are specific to you for a purpose and for a reason. And once you understand that, it doesn't matter what your past is. Like, if God is calling you to a thing, I will get smack dab in the middle of particular things, and I'll be like, Lord, you trust me with this? I don't know. And it is mentoring people and encouraging people. I don't have a title, and some of us, if we are in church, we'll be like, well, I'm not a minister, I'm not this, I'm not that. And it's always so interesting because I've had many opportunities to kind of complete and start some things with getting titles and getting different things in the ministry, and the Lord would always still steer another way. And so, I don't really, I ask God to help me understand. I can't say that I ask why questions, but it's like, Lord, I feel my path changing. Can you help me understand this change that you have coming in my life? And I get answers. So I don't know about all of y'all, but I think if you spend time praying, spend time meditating and quieting yourself, you'll find that God is speaking to you all the time. And whether you believe it's God, whether you believe it's the universe, I call him Jesus, you call him whatever you want to call him. Just do some things in your life so that you're centered with yourself. And so life comes, life happens. I talk to mothers and fathers and parents on Tuesday, and that's something that's very specific because our kids are always in need. And just like my parents, I didn't have too many needs that were not met because they did that thing. Oh, you need something? All right, that's fine. My father bought me 5 cars. So it was me and my sister. And we would not get a license. But he kept buying those cars. And we was like, yeah, Daddy, we gonna do it. The need was met before we even walked towards the provision. And so the importance of that is this. 5 cars. And he was like, I'm not going to buy another car until y'all get your license. I was 29 when I got my license, 29 years old. And so that's a lot of years of busting it. And I would be embarrassed, when I was learning how to drive, because I was like, I don't want nobody to know I didn't know how to drive. Meanwhile, a lot of my friends got their licenses in high school. They like 10 years in driving before me. But when it happened for a reason, because I got my license. The car was waiting. And then I took my dad with me on a trip because I said, Dad, it was a regular car. I forget. It was like an Oldsmobile, old school car. And I was like, I need a minivan and I'm going to buy me a new car. And Daddy was like, okay, well, we'll go. And I was like, I just need you to come with me. Now, look, I needed his signature because back then money was not right the way that it was. Morning, Diane. Miss you so much. Glad to see you on here. And we went to the car dealer, and my father was in awe of me because he saw how I operated in business, and he was like, oh, well, I thought I was going to have to come in here and do this. I was like, I just need you to sign on the dotted line, put your social security number there, and we're going to be out. The man came, and he, was selling me the car, and then they came up with a price, and I was like, ooh, ooh, that's the sound of the police. Wait a minute. Who paying you that? When? No, renegotiate that. So the lesson that my daddy gave me was, when you go into a car dealership, it is their job to ensure that you leave off of that lot with a car. Why? Because that's their job. They're car salesmen. So I had disqualified myself. I said, I don't have the credit. I don't have, I got the money. It was income tax time. Y'all know how we be flossing. I know y'all gonna buy stuff. that particular year, I wanted to make the investment in purchasing a vehicle. And my dad went with me. We went in there. I made the man renegotiate the numbers. And my father was in awe because he was like, I didn't know you knew how to do that. I didn't know that you could do that. But the thing that happened was sometimes when we disqualify ourselves, we also understand that there is a process for when you get a team. I'm all for team building. It's a big thing for me. I think about it. I talk about it because it took a team. And, you know, we say it takes a village to raise a kid. It took like an entire country. Like village just seems small. 5 kids, 1 mommy, 2 hands, 24 hours in a day. We had a lot of things to do. Needless to say, it took all day. We got there probably in the afternoon. We didn't leave till the sun went down. That was Valentine's Day. I don't even know what year, 2004. Valentine's Day 2004, I drove off with a 2003 Chevy Venture, green color. It had a car seat. It had all kinds of stuff in it. Anyway, that was my first new car that I had ever purchased. But it took me to the point to say, you know what? I didn't disqualify myself. I just said, I know what my need is and I got to get to it. But I know somebody who is qualified, who I can connect with, and became literally my financial co-signer. Some of us in our lives need to find those financial mentors. We need to find those spiritual mentors. We need to find those emotional mentors. Those people that will co-sign with us on the dream and the goal that we've set for ourselves. And so the reason why it's important is I needed a new car. And I needed to figure out how to do that. So I challenge you today to figure out what's that next thing in your life, that right now thing, goal setting. I talked about we're going to be doing vision board, and we're going to try to share some of that as much as possible. But it's an important thing when you talk about goal setting. And part of the reason that I had to set goals was because it was 5 children. They would have killed me. And I mean, literally. They would have killed me because it's a lot that goes into raising a family. It's a lot to go into if you're just 2 married people or you're in a relationship. There's so much that goes on. So don't disqualify yourself from a relationship because you're afraid to love. Because you've been hurt before. I love those quotes, and I have quotes on my walls and stuff. And it's like, love like you've never been hurt before. Like, how amazing is that? But also be patient in love. I love it because my pastors in Pennsylvania. Yes, I got pastors in a couple of places. They're still my pastors too. I got a pastor here in North Carolina and a pastor in Pennsylvania. But they're doing a love series, and it's talking about relationships and what sacrifices that it takes when you're in a relationship. And I love it because it's so funny. Oh, got no man nowhere. But I know what it takes to keep a good one. Now we're in a season of allowing the good ones to make their way to me. That's all we're going to say to that. But I know about relationships, and I know about people, and that's part of because I studied psychology, I studied sociology, and there are things, and I'm listening and learning and have mentors, and so I just share the knowledge that has been shared with me about what it is we need to do when it comes to a time for healing. I'm not saying jump from one relationship into the other. Don't do that because you will find disaster. But after you take that time to heal, remember that God created us for community. He created us to be together for a purpose. Why? Because we can do more together. Like, I'm sitting here like, Lord, I don't know what this thing is you're going to do for my family, for what I consider. I'm a legacy builder. And so I talked a lot about, being a midwife to people. But I'm excited. Like, I'm not one of those who a lot of times I'd be like, well, I desire a husband, or I want a husband. I don't want a husband. I want to be a wife. Okay. And so that I changed my lifestyle. I changed the way that I talk. I changed the way that I need to do things because why? It's necessary. Why? Because I don't want no junk man. I'm just going to put it just like that. I could find a man and I could keep him. That's not the issue. The issue is I want somebody to build with. I want somebody who wants to do some things in their lives and will give me something to help them with. If my job as a wife is to be a helpmate, that means you got to be doing something, mister. If you're not doing anything, mister, then that means that I'm going to be sitting somewhere and I'm going to be bored. And then when Johnny come by and he be like, hey, Anyway, okay. Back on track. Do not disqualify yourself in love. Do not disqualify yourself in jobs. I had a difficult time when I first started my career in higher ed because I had not yet completed my degree. So I talked to you about me getting that scholarship. Well, guess what? The babies kept on coming. So I had to stay my tail home and raise my family. And that break that I thought was going to be a year or two turned into 10 years. Like, it took me about 10 to 15 years to get back to the place of I'm going to be able to pursue my dreams, because my kids were young. I couldn't, I told you we ain't had no car. Like, I couldn't do all of that. And then I got a car and I got freedom. And then from that point on, like when my kids got of age, I was like, y'all got to get a license. What are you doing? So my daughter got her license on time. That was good. And then the rest of the boys wouldn't get a license. Then my youngest son beat all of his brothers and got his license first. And it was crazy. Hey, everybody, I'm glad to see y'all on here. Hey, Sheen, good morning. It is so much because I knew the freedom that I got when I got my license. Like, somebody gonna let you use your car. So when I got my license, nobody would let me drive. Okay, my mother was like, you ain't driving my car. But my Aunt Gloria, she came and picked me up. I love her. She will always let all of us drive. And I could not drive. I had a license, but I couldn't drive. Had a license, but couldn't drive. Like, y'all understand that? Did enough to pass the test, but didn't know enough to be a good driver. And so I'm a pretty good driver now. Parking issues, parallel parking, always an issue. But anyway, in a few years, the chauffeur will come. That's why I love for people to drive me, and I love the kids to drive me. That's probably really why I set them to do some things. But with all of that, it was important to me that they would get their license, because I knew the freedom that would come when they got their license. Somebody will let you use the car until you get one. And then the first one bought a car, and then the second one bought a car. And then, when I came down here last year to find me a place to live, my youngest son, him and my middle son were so Jug and Josh went and they bought a new car. It was like I came home and there's a car sitting in my drive. Whose car? Who is this? Harpo, who these people? They understood it. They got it. They know how to get their work on, and they do what they need to do. And it was interesting because they needed to team up to do some things as well to make sure that thing happened. But even without me, because they were taught that, they were able to do that. But there are some lessons that I teach my kids that they will not do. They won't do it. They won't do it. And part of it is that it then becomes my responsibility to understand the reason why they can't do that. Some of them, I've raised kings. I haven't raised baby daddies. That ain't what I raised. So, in your family, whatever it is, I know it's different, and I'm not looking down on anybody else, but I was specific and strategic with what was required and what I would allow with them. And so part of that then became a challenge, because if I'm saying that my sons need to do this, that means Mister on my arm, you gotta surpass what I'm teaching them that they have to do. Because if I have a requirement for them, then I've got to have a requirement for you. And if you're going to be in my life, here are some of the things. And it's not to say rules or anything like that, because I believe that a man should be a man. But don't come up in here with no foolishness and think that I'm not going to say nothing about it. Because I'm from Jersey. My mouth is slick and I'm smart. I might say something to cut you emotionally. That's all we'll say on that. Don't disqualify yourself. You've been through hurt. You've been through things. Think about life in a great way. We got a great day. It's Thursday. I think it's going to be like 70 degrees down here. I need y'all to pray for some sunshine. I am solar powered and your sister is struggling. Okay. I came down here because I thought it'd be some more sunshine, and we literally got 2 weeks of dreariness. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is a problem, Lord. I need a shot. I need a shot of some sunshine. So I'll try to be the sunshine as much as I can. The things that you've been disqualifying yourselves. I gave the exercise on Tuesday. Get in the mirror and tell yourself, I am a mommy mogul. Okay, that we got to say some things. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm innovative. I am brilliant. And so it's an interesting thing, because it's kind of it took a lot of years for me to be able to accept compliments from people. Why? Because I was in my head telling myself things that I thought were true until I had enough people to bombard the thoughts and the things that I was saying to myself. And so what I speak out now is not things to degrade myself, but it's things to uplift me. And so I don't wait for people. I had a great day yesterday. You know, other years I might have been depressed, be like, Lord, I don't, you know, where my man, where my flowers, where my, look, I'm drama free. Okay. Right now. We'll see. Anyway. But I got to take those steps. You know, I can't stay in the house and be like, okay, well, Lord, you know, the UPS man going to deliver him to my door. You know, we got to go out. We got to get dressed and we got to go on some dates and all of that. And I had people, because probably 3 years ago, I was kind of like, I don't know how to date. And I know that's crazy. I'm a woman of a certain age. We ain't going there right now. But it's like, I haven't dated a lot because I was raising kids. It was like literally the time clock stopped for me. And it's okay because my goal was to get my kids to a place where most of them are at. Most of them are there. Some of them, you know, they need a kick or a push or some dragging. We're going to figure it out. But they're still in my prayers. I love them dearly. Yes, I do. Okay. Back to the topic at hand. Do the exercise, do the work. Know that if it's work, it's worth it. Whether it's for your fitness, get some mentors in your life. Get some people that you trust that can be sounding boards for you. Get some people who and we gotta do a class. I got a good friend, Gail, who she sat me down and she was like, "This is how you date. This is what is supposed to happen." And then I found in all of that my brothers. The loves that we are supposed to love also don't know how to date because y'all used to just hollering at a chick and then we just come. Well, guess what? Holler at me if you want to. Okay, now. It's a different process that's supposed to happen. And part of it comes with respect. It comes with, you know, we give a lot of concessions to people that we don't give to ourselves. Give that concession to yourself to say, I'm worth it. I'm worth the effort. I'm worth the try. I know what I'm bringing. So if you know that you're a queen, come on now. You know it's certain things that you just are not going to allow. There are certain times like people could talk to me any old kind of way when my kids are not around. And I'll tell you this because probably the two worst are my 1, 3, and 5. So Danielle, Josh, and Lamont. If you come out of pocket with me and they're in my presence, my mouth doesn't have to open. I don't even have to move because the wrath that you're going to get from them for you disrespecting their queen mother is something, child, look, I have experienced it from this side. And I'll say in each and every one of those situations, I did not want to be the person on the other side because they don't play that. When it comes to me, now, I ain't going to say that they always treat me right. I would wish that they treat me how they expect other people to treat me. But that also is a topic for another day. But if you come for me and do so, and it's not even coming for me. Joshua is one that he has a standard of things that you should not do in front of his mother. And if you decide to do those things, usually there's a consequence that you weren't expecting. Because I'm going to say it, Josh is the most of the collaboration between between me and his dad. You will get knocked out literally. Okay, so just talk at a regular tone in front of him, and he's usually laying in the cut. He sees things and he's like, all right, Ma, it's time to go. Say, what now? You ain't my, nah, something about to go down. We got to go. And so he literally grew up being my guardsman, my security. And so the rest of them the same way. You know, I miss my security team and entourage, but what they taught me was I never had to act a certain way. Like I didn't have to be less than or be afraid in particular situations. And it wasn't a man that gave me that security. It was my children who reminded me, nah, you mommy. These are the things that are required. And so they do that for other people, rooting for the underdog, doing all of that. I'm rooting for you all today. It's so much stuff that we got. And, I'm going to try to be more diligent with getting on here and sharing information with you all because it's important. We got to get our teams together and do things because there's a lot of work to do when we see how much hurting is going on in Florida and in our own communities. We realize that it's work to do that we've got to do together. And we're past that whole, let's pray about it. Okay. Because we're taught to watch and pray. But faith takes action. So if we believe that change is necessary in our communities, then I know Gail is a great activist in her community and so many others, Sheem, you as well, doing things in your area. Where are you placed to impact, to be able to do things? You got to get out there and do some things because look, it doesn't matter where that young man got that AK-47 or whatever it was. What matters is he didn't value life enough to say, I want to save mine and others. He was like, I'm just going to wipe some people out for whatever reason. Like that is mental illness. But love covers a multitude of sins. We preach about it. We hear it. All right with the likes. All right with the likes. We hear about it and we know it, but it's got to be something that we are ingraining in ourselves every single day. So today's topic, don't disqualify yourself. If yourself is telling you that you can't do a thing because of whatever reason, tell yourself to shut up. I do often. Like, girl, shut up. Like, shut up. I had a friend and I'm not used to people telling me what to do because in my singleness and I'm a boss, I get people who are able to tell me what it is. Like I'm telling people what to do. But there are certain instances where people are like, okay, look, this is what you want to do. And had a friend of mine say, wow, I physically see that's a struggle for you to take direction. And I said, well, not in every instance, but if I'm doing something and I'm like, I know that I'm right, learning is a process. So, y'all pray for me because I'll be like, what did you say? Like I got to process it and I have to remove my boss self from this is a time of learning. This is a time to do some new things because I'm trying to do new ventures that I've never done before. And so I've got to recalibrate my own self, my own thoughts, my mind, to be able to just set forth on a new in new territory. 10, 15 years ago, we were singing songs and we were praying the prayer of Jabez and it was enlarge my territory. Well, guess what? It's large now. Now what you're going to do with it. Don't disqualify yourself. Like I said before, the world is waiting for us. We've got to get some things done because lives. That's what's at stake. My sister, minister, Kiana Cox-Jones, says that all the time in drama ministry. And when we think about acting and it says, what is it that I think it's a Jersey thing, Gail, but what Kiana always says is, she always asks, what's at stake? Lives. What's at stake? Lives. So it's lives that are at stake. Reach out to somebody who might be going into dealing with any series of depression. If you've been there, you understand the struggle. If you don't know the struggle, find somebody that does so that you can connect people together. Be a connector in a world that's trying to tear us apart. Be a connector. Be a gap builder. I'll be on here again. Y'all know how I do. It's time for some things. And so, we're going to get out there and we're going to speak and I'm going to share more of my stories and more of my survival techniques and how I got from there to here, because it's important. I know that God has blessed me with many opportunities, not just because what my name means, pure grace, not just because of that, but because he let me see the good and the bad because he knew I would tell it. Like, y'all want to know somebody who would run tell that? That's me. I'm a run and tell it. Run, tell that. I'm a keeper of secrets. I have no problem with that. But it's no longer time for us to keep our own testimony and keep our own secrets because people are in their rooms. They're contemplating between life and death because they're trying to figure out how do I do this? I got a report of, am I pregnant? How am I going to raise another child? Or, and the excitement that I have. Look. Let me tell you how excited I am about the birth of my grandson coming. men carry legacy. And so all my girls, I love them and they gonna be fly and awesome. But look, something about that man being able to make solid the legacy that I continue to allow God to build for me. I'm not even saying that I'm building it, but when you are blessed with a male child, like literally biblically or whatever, that is a huge thing to say. That man is going to carry your name. That man is going to carry your legacy. And so I got 4 of them. But look, this is next generation, literally type stuff. I'm so souped about this. I cannot wait. Yes, I'll be in PA next week to catch a baby or feed a baby or do something. I'm only going to be there for a short time and then I'm getting out of there. Because why? Because babies poop and they throw. I'm not here for none of that. Understand? I'm not that. I'm not grandma at all. Because I want people to understand that I'm not signing up for none of that. But I am here for the loving. I'm here for the spoiling. I'm here to just breathe and speak life into him and to have our roots moment, all of that. I'm so excited. And it's going to be a good day, y'all. It's going to be a good day. Say that to yourself. It's going to be a good day. Because once you say it to yourself, then you're already convinced that every step that you take is going to be amazing. So I'm excited for the amazing day that's ahead. Let's get some stuff done. Don't disqualify yourself. That's what today, the world is still waiting for us. Let's get it done.